Humans are originally designed to run. That's how we as a species has survived for these many centuries. Otherwise, if you look at uh, the animals that we've lived with, all of them were much stronger, much faster. I think what we have and what others do not have is our ability to run and endure, right? So we can do much longer runs than most of the animals around. So I personally feel that when we are running, we are doing the most natural thing that humans are supposed to.
Right. So one thing, as fellow CEOs, I've basically seen two categories of CEOs. I've seen category of CEOs who are pretty adamant about health, and they spend the time to actually make sure that the health is in top shape. And then I see people who are frantically focused on and passionately, rightfully so, they're focused on building their companies or whatever. What's the advice? What is the advice from you to both these camps?
So I think each one for himself, and like I said, there are approaches that people can take. I can talk about the approach that I would take for myself, which is having a sustainable approach. The fact remains that if you're not healthy, you're not gonna be around for long to for your family or for the vision that you have. Uh, it's visible to all of us as we progress later in our lives. So my advice is do whatever you do, but it has to be sustainable. And we do have to strike balance across our health, our passions, especially if we are building business and families, uh, ones who have the families, right? So I think these three need to be in balance. And I don't think anything that you ignore will have consequences on the other two.
No, I mean, I think aptly put. I think you're putting it very delicately, but I think health is sort of non-negotiable. It's like that car, if it's not serviced well enough, how you can take it out for a speed run or whatever you want to do with that car, right?
You can certainly not be an F1 racing, right?
With a not a very time machine,
And you need your
and I
team, which is your family, to be in great shape. They're gonna change your tires. They're gonna change all when you are in the pit stop, right? And if that team is not in good shape, you're gonna struggle.
so Vinayak, interesting, right? I mean, of course, CEOs, we are all human beings as well. We have our ebbs and valleys and peaks of emotions. The sadness, the despair, the anger, the frustration, the happiness, etc. So, what is like? I think we're inventing coping mechanisms, or we are inventing mechanisms to think or feel the right. So, what does running do to that?
I think I won't be able to take like deeper scientific reasons or terminologies here, but this is a personal experience that I have gained, especially after started running a lot more. Is the day I have had a good run is a much easier day for me at office. So just to give you an example, if I do a speed run on a given day for say 10 kilometers, I feel a lot more energized. I'm probably having a lot better conversations. Some of the problems on the other days I would have felt too hard to solve. I think there's a lot of positivity which I can experience, and I find those problems much easier to solve. So, merely on the experience perspective, running helps my day to day management of challenging situations or emotions. In fact, managing my team members who are going through their own emotions is a lot easier. In fact, there are days because of travel or certain family commitments or health issues that I'm not able to run. I can feel that slack. I can feel that challenge in office if I haven't had a basically a good run. So merely from my personal experience, I can say that it helps. It helps me deal with all those difficult challenges that one faces.
Yeah, no, very interesting, right? Perspective on that. So I think we are kind of dabbling into both the realms, right? Leadership and being an athlete or being a ultra marathoner, right? So, what are your tips for optimizing these functions? For sustained energy. To start with, let's talk about sustained energy.
Right. So I will basically start with running so that it's easier to translate to the entrepreneurship or as a leader in the organization. What I have seen, especially at the age group we are in, uh, we are not winning an Olympics gold medal anytime soon. And I think we need to prioritize and understand why we are doing what we are doing. Right. And that's where I think I've seen people who are like over obsessed, which is good for them. Like I said, each one for himself. But I would personally say that if you are picking up running, make sure it becomes a source of enjoyment, it becomes a source of energy and not yet another source of stress. Right. So I've seen people getting like hugely disappointed if they don't meet their targets for the run or, the distance. Uh, I mean, we are not going in our lives, both at work, family, and everywhere else. Why do you want to add another ticket which creates stress? So I think be very mindful of you. And the beauty of running is you are not competing with anyone else. The moment you make a competition with anybody else, then you've gone in a wrong path. You cannot, as a running, as a sport, it's only your competition with yourself. And I think if you really focus on improving yourself rather than trying to match somebody else's pace, somebody's distance, you will do quite fine. Uh, I think look at that little improvement. I think I have this mentor and a friend on distance running, and he has this beautiful saying that we should leave a little bit in every run. Don't make it as your last run, right? Leave a little bit so that you have that excitement of come back again and try to do better, right? And I think that's my advice for a lot of people who are picking up running. Remember that this is your source of energy, enjoyment, not source of stress. So don't get overtly competitive. uh, do training plans, do look at nutrition, do look at meeting your goals in terms of time, distance. Please do that. It's fun. It's a gamification that we are seeking, but let this not be a source of stress. Then I think it's probably going to take you in a wrong direction.
And how does that translate into leadership?
I think even in a leadership front, I like what you said. Like you have to enjoy the process. Outcomes will happen. Outcomes will not happen. That's important, but that's still secondary. In leadership, what I would say is you make a decision. You hire a person. It may work out. You must give your best. You must do all that it takes to succeed. But if you fail, it should not bring you down because that's not why you started business in the first place, right? It's yet another ambition in the life that you want to achieve, and it should not be a source of disappointment to you, but source of growth. So today, when I run my business, if I look back, I think the biggest gain that I see is in terms of learnings that I've had, which I wouldn't have had elsewhere. The kind of opportunities that I have, some we are able to tap, some we are not able to tap, some you're putting a longer timeline. So don't let business or the entrepreneurship endeavor that you've taken up become a source of stress. And it's all about rephrasing various little things that you're trying to do. Is what will help you sustain the journey ahead and enjoy the journey. Focus on outcomes, absolutely, right? But they should not be the ultimate goal of why you have started.
I think I like what you said about both the disciplines, and you use this word called competition, right? I think we get so enamored so quickly by seeing somebody out there, whether we're doing business as a company, and or as a runner, we're looking at another guy running faster than you, whatever, and we tend to start living their life, and when we start living their life, we don't live our life, and that is the source of frustration, disappointment. That's where we don't do our best for what we should be doing at this point of time. Again, um, to your point, I do believe I'll win a gold medal in the Olympics, by the way. But but yeah, I mean, where are we going with all of this, right? I mean, like at the end of the day, when you see a professional athlete like Michael Phelps or anybody, Usain Bolt, for example, they never brag about the gold medals they have, right? They never talk about, oh, I won these many gold medals, right? They're talking more about the experience, the process, the journey, the um, the plan. and not really about the outcomes, right? So I think that's where these guys achieve greatness, and greatness is a side effect of all of these things. Unfortunately, we focus so much on greatness, we celebrate greatness more than actually the process and the structure, and then the enjoyment actually vanishes from the whole process. So that's a very interesting perspective. And look, whether it's an ultra marathon or running a company, it is a marathon. It is something, it's going to take a while, and if you're not built to enjoy that, I think it's a hard thing, right? So
In fact, you said a very interesting thing, and I'll do a little bit of a correlation. There's a book called The Art of Happiness by Dalai Lama. And I think he speaks of the first thing that we humans do wrong, which comes in the way of happiness, is comparison. Like I said, all of us have different experiences, different journeys. So it is actually incorrect on our parts to compare. So be it a business or be it a run, you're running your own marathon, and you cannot be comparing yourself with the others. It could be another company which has grown faster, has done an exit. You can learn from them, right? You can take inspiration from them, and maybe you can change your approach. You can do that, but that should not become a source of stress. That should be source of learning when you go, and that's the biggest killer of happiness, like you say, in your journey. Be it an entrepreneur, be it your regular job, be it your family, be it a business.
right. Yeah, I think we are around the corner. I think, people are beginning to understand what would make sense, and like, hey, 6 months. You don't, like you said, you didn't get to a bad place in a day. You got to a bad place in terms of health in 6 months or a year of
Maybe a
eating up your body. Yeah, maybe a decade. Yeah. I mean, and then you're not going to get out of it like tomorrow by having a pill or whatever, right? So it's going to take a little bit of time. Just be patient. Just be forgiving to yourself. Let those days slip by when you're not 100%, and celebrate those days when you're 100%. So the question I wanted to ask you, we are the transitional generation. We were young. We had that unbreakable body, and we were like, we're going to live for infinite years. Now we're 45 years old and transitioning into our second phase of our life, and we are now beginning to realize we are mortals, we are breakables, right? So what's your message to all our peer community out there from a health perspective?
Um, I think elongate the timeline is what I would say, and don't assume that we're gonna leave the world at 55 or 60. Tell yourself that you're gonna live till 90, and that means health is important, and there's a lot more to do. I usually get surprised with people who are making their retirement plans at 45. I think almost 90% of us are. I am not, and yeah, I think just imagine you're gonna live till 90 years of age. Please plan for it in that fashion. I think you will certainly prioritize your health. You don't want to live for 90 years in a hospital bed, or people taking care of you.
I think those are very, very deep thoughts, right? Whether you like it or not, right? Where us as human beings, our biology and everything else, what human beings have made up via progress is, you're gonna limp through towards that 90, or you're gonna run through towards that 90. Right? It's not, frankly, living till 90 is almost a given, except that, you want to do that by being on a hospital bed
Yeah.
where people are keeping you alive, or you want to be running to your 90 where you enjoy doing what you do, right? That's very deep, and a lot of people, like you said, they talk to us like, oh yeah, I mean, what's the point? Just have fun, live a full life, and then if it's 55 or 60, that's fine,
Even if you take
but I think take care of, that's an oxymoron.
Yeah, because if you take care of your health, you're still gonna live good life. Like, and you certainly cannot ensure that you will leave the world at 60, right? So you better prepare for it. And what happens is, even if you leave earlier than 60, you will know that you gave yourself a fair chance to have a healthy life. And who knows, you might leave at 60 in a really healthy shape. What else do you want?
And hey, a car which needs constant maintenance is not going to take you anywhere. So you're not going to anyways have the drive-bys and the scenic views if the car is broken,
Yep,
right? So this is the proverbial car which you have to take care of,
absolutely.
right? So So thank you so much, Vinayak. Really, really enjoyed the conversation. All the best. I think you're doing fantastic things. I think you are a inspiration and a role model for a lot of us because you are proverbially balancing multiple dimensions of life, which otherwise a lot of people feel is very, very hard to do, right? They feel like, oh, I could be either in fitness, but I can't do my job, or, I can only raise a family and a job, and I don't have time for anything else. But I think you're able to practice that craft of three things: health, job, and family. These three things can be taken together. Just do it. And so very, very inspired by that message.
Thank you very much, Preetpal. I think thank you for kind words, having me on the show. And I think what you're really trying to achieve is very, very important in the current times. And I wish you very best in your journey ahead. Thank you very much.